Hey, what's up, App Mafias? Welcome back to the commute. And in this session, we will be discussing about seed classes and enum classes. Now, seed classes are an interesting feature in Kotlin, and there's also an enum class. They both look the same, work the same. A lot of people and a lot of developers get confused about when to use one and when to use another. In this video, let's break them down and let's try to see and work around them. Let's get started with seed classes first and also introduce seed interfaces. Now, why do we even need seed classes? Seed classes are used to represent some kind of restricted hierarchy of things. Like, for example, UI states. UI state, let me write it down. Let me write the UI states. Right, the loading, success, and failure. For example, we have some kind of progress bar or maybe a progress indicator to just show that the API has been called. Let's try to make one to understand it more effectively. Let's try to make a seed class here. So, how do you make a seed class? First of all, the seed keyword used, seed class, then we have UI states, right? And this is a simple constructor that we have that can be used, that can be found in every class, hopefully. As you can see, it is a very simple class. It does not identify as anything other than just a class. It's a class. Works similarly to any other class. Let's just say our state, okay, of type of string, right? This defines the state. Now, one interesting thing is that whichever class actually inherits the seed class needs to be inside of the seed class itself. It means that if I make a class, for example, class loading, if it inherits seed class UI states, it should be declared inside of the seed class. It cannot be declared outside of the seed class. Let's try to make one. Simple as that. So these are all the classes that we have that have inherited this seed class. And one important concept here is that the UI states, once compiled, cannot include any other classes. It means it has been restricted. That's why the name of sealed classes. It cannot have any other class than loading, success, or failure. And an interesting thing about the seed class itself is that we can also make some kind of data class here, right? We can even make this as an object. Even this is allowed. So class, object, data classes, there are a lot of customization that can happen in the seed class. Let's try to make an enum class here. As you can see, it works very similarly to the seed class, and we have different types of classes inside of this seed class, right? You can say UI states, I guess, no, or state of type of string. As you can see, it is the enum class. It's pretty much similar to the seed class. Why should we use one over another? Now, it depends upon your project and what kind of use case you're going after. Now, these both seed classes work similarly, and they can even have different functions, different stuff, variables inside of the seed class as any other class works. But the difference between enum class and a seed class is that seed class allows a lot of customization. It means that we can have a data class here, we can even have an object here, and we can even have a normal class here. But with enum classes, it can only be of type of class, not of data class, not of type object. We cannot change that. And also, we can provide a lot of functionality with seed classes, and enum classes does not provide that. Enum class always have a certain type of restriction over seed classes, and seed classes provide a lot of customization. So that's the difference between these two. It's not so different about the use case, but the seed classes and enum classes differentiate when you need to have a customization and when you don't need to have customization. Let me give you one more example. In my project recently, in my company recently, one of my team's backend developers used an enum class in Java. Now, the enum class was used to show different registration progresses. We'll say registration progress. Okay. Now, these are different states of registration, right? Registration done, registration failed, registration. As you can see, different states of the same registration process right? So enum classes were used for this to send then API call, and whether the user has have done the registration, or maybe the admin has allowed the registration, viewed the registration, has completed the registration. So different conditions of registration, we can comprise all of this inside of this just one class called an enum class. I hope this makes enum classes a little clearer, and why do we even need enum classes over sealed classes. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about is called a sealed interface. It works similarly to the sealed classes. There's no such difference between sealed class as such, but sealed interface is same as sealed class, but it does not have a constructor because interface does not have any constructor. It's an interface, and I need to make it capital here. Sealed interface works similarly how the normal sealed class works. As you can see, it's inheriting the process of the progress, other different customizations that the sealed class offers as compared to other things, right? And I hope this makes it a little more clearer. And when do we even need to do it? Let's try to first of all actually use the sealed class in some kind of process so that it makes it much more clearer, and then you can actually use sealed class in your projects as well. Let's try to make a simple sealed class, not an interface, sealed class called vehicle. This is a very simple class, as we have been making classes called car, type of vehicle. So different states, different versions of the same thing. Let's say what tires, right? The number of tires would be 4 and tires would be 2. As you can see, different objects right here, different classes right here. A class of car type, a class of bike type, and both of them are restricted to just being vehicles. Vehicle does not have any other thing. So that's how the C classes work. Let's try to use the when statement here. Let's try to use a when statement here quickly. Vehicle types, we will pass a vehicle, type of a vehicle. We can make a vehicle of type of vehicle. Now, as you can see, this is a simple function called vehicle types, and it's the vehicle of the type of vehicle class, and we are using this vehicle when vehicle is vehicle.bike. Just do something like println, and this is how the things are working right now. Let's try to enable this particular function, and let's just say vehicle.car. Right, and right. So it just prints out it's a car. As you can see, hopefully this is visible. It's a type of car. Let's just change that to bike, and it will print out. Come on, it's a bike. As you can see, it prints out and it's a bike. Hopefully this makes C classes a little clear. Hopefully this makes enum classes, C classes, C interface a little clear. And this is it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.